Hi everyone. We're going to talk about making attachments today. But first we have to make some slip. Slip is simply watered down clay. So we're going to take a little container, we've added water, and I just pinched off some really small little pieces of wet clay out of my bag. Now if you have dry clay, that is going to be way more helpful because dry clay breaks down really easily with water. Wet clay takes some time, and then we just add water. And we're going to pour water in here. I've already got this started, so want to keep my clay damp, so I'm putting it back in plastic here. Won't dry out. And then I'll use a fork and just start mixing this clay up. And hopefully I will end up with some nice slip at the end of the process. It does take some time. It's going to take you probably a good 5-10 minutes to mix this up well. I don't have 5 or 10 minutes right now, so we'll put that aside, and I've got some that I've already mixed here. This I mixed up a little bit earlier, and you can see it's a really nice consistency. Trying to aim for the camera here. So you don't want, I'm going to continue mixing this slip while I talk. You don't want your slip to have too much water in it. Too much water creates more shrinkage, and shrinkage at your joints will equate to cracking. You want to avoid cracks, and one way to do that is to eliminate the amount of water you use in your slip. So if your slip gets a bit too thin, there are ways that you can deal with that. I'm going to keep working on this. I'd love for it to be at a perfect consistency, but it's going to take a while to break down some of these chunks of clay. So for now, I'm going to pull some out for the sake of my demo. And pretend that I have some really good slip right here. Now, I'm going to add a little bit more water. Why am I doing that? I wouldn't normally, but I just want to do this for the sake of the demonstration, just to show you a little bit of chemistry here. So now my slip is pretty thin. I really wouldn't want to use that. Try and show you. You can see it's like chocolate milk. Actually, it looks pretty good, but not for making joints. So yeah, too thin, too much water. How do I remedy that? Well, I can add more material and continue mixing, and that's probably the most appropriate way to do it. If you have some dry clay, dried powdered clay, add that. That'll mix up quicker. But what you can do to improve your slip and thicken it up at the same time, give it more sticking power, more of that glue-like quality, is to add some vinegar. Now I have some distilled vinegar here. Any vinegar will do. Vinegar is an acid. Your clay is alkaline. If you add just a little bit, and I wish I had a little pipette, because you only need a few drops, and I always tend to overdo it. When it comes to this, so I don't know if you'll be able to see this, but you could see how thin it is now. I'm going to add some vinegar, and you can see that it begins to thicken the clay immediately. So this is a really good way to make a very good slip. Some people don't like the smell of vinegar. I don't mind it at all. It reminds me of Easter and coloring eggs as a child and good times. However, so now we've got slip made. We're ready to go. Okay. We'll go back to this, which I've already mixed. It's even a little bit thicker. Other things that you can do, rather than mixing a slip and using slip, I use magic water for most of my attachments, most of my joints. Magic water is sodium silicate, soda ash, and water, and it has kind of the opposite effect of the vinegar, which flocculates the clay. Sodium silicate is a deflocculant, so it has a different type of charge. Now, when you add vinegar to clay, you're creating a negative ion charge, so the particles are repelling one another. And with sodium silicate, they attract one another. So, but they both work equally well. I am just a big fan of magic water because it's not nearly as messy, and I think it just has a little bit better quality of sticking power. Now, sometimes when I'm using slip, I'll just add some magic water to that, and that just boosts the quality of the slip, I think, a great deal. You can, if you don't have magic water, simply just add a little bit of sodium silicate, and that's really easy to get. You can probably get it at your pharmacy, so you don't have to run down to your pottery supply. But I would encourage you to do that if it's open. Right now, so many things are closed. It's so sad. But you can get those materials very easily. Okay.